What I've observed about feeling a lot of time is we tend to put so much emphasis. I've seen somebody who said, my mental health is unbalanced at the moment. And because of that, they refuse to actually step out of their house, or refuse to pick up the call and start calls for salespeople now, or they refuse to pick up that book. It's easy to give up power in that sense, but that is one of the wrong approach to managing those blues that you would have. You would always have blues because there are things that will always not work the way we want it. Action sometimes will actually help you to snap out of it. And I was thinking research that says that because you are feeling low, it affects your movement. You just want to coil up in bed, you want to put your duvet over yourself, you just don't want to do anything. The same way, because nerve transmission is reciprocal, it can go both ways. The same way, if you begin to take action in spite of your feeling, it can actually change the way you feel. Well, today, what I'm going to start with is a form of a rant. Once in a while, I do this rant thing that I just talk about what is on my mind, right? I was having a conversation with the team earlier, and I was telling them that I'm kind of very low. Sometimes you just get to that wall, and then you feel discouraged. You feel that things are not panning out the way it should pan out. It could have been better. Those are some of those days. I'm sure it happens to all of us. You call it, you have the blues sometimes. So I think for me, the blues was today. So the question in my head is, if this is happening to me, and generally I'm a bit of an optimistic person. If this is happening to me, I'm sure it happens to a lot of people, particularly entrepreneurs, particularly if you're living in a country. You just wake up sometimes and you feel like this thing is not just gelling. So how do you deal with those kind of scenarios? How do we deal with those kind of moments, right? So, but before I go, I think in the bit to start, I kind of just skipped initially. My name is Olufemi Sheyi. I'm a real estate salesman. I buy, build, and sell real estate. Part of my journey this year, over the next 1 year, is how can I work with 200 people and then make them multimillionaires, meaning that they will earn 10 million and above in commission. That is my goal for the next 1 year. So today I'm just going to be asking myself, so how do you snap out of those kind of moments when you are solo? And it's going to happen to all of us. The number one thing I'm beginning to realize is, one, you need to understand. I'm going to try to write it down so I don't forget. Number one is you need to understand that your feeling, the way you feel, is not necessarily the reality of things. A lot of times when we're beginning to feel low, we are feeling sad, you're unhappy about things, you think that you can get better results. And if you're not careful, when you get into that kind of rut, you tend to now approximate or estimate and assume that the entire reality is what you are feeling. I think the first step is to understand that your feeling is not necessarily your reality. And we tend to miss it a lot, which is why, for example, you find someone who is very sad, get into borderline depression, and then next thing you hear about suicide or attempt at suicide is because what those people have done is to take the feeling and then they substantiate it so much that it becomes, in as far as they are concerned, their reality. That is not the case 99.9% of the time. And let me use an example. Now, let's say that you have issues with cash, you are so broke, and on a Monday morning you have zero, and you are so sad because you don't have cash, because you can't even do the things that you need to do. Of course, that can lead to a bit of blues, if to use that word. And so let's say that in the midst of that blues, you're feeling very low, you're feeling terribly depressed. The richest man in Nigeria, Dangote, obviously calls you and says, Amaka, I'm going to send 1.5 billion naira to your account, but I'm not going to send it this week. I'm going to send it upper week. I'm traveling out of the country. So please just hold on for me. I promise you I will send it. Or rather, I'm going to give you a post-dated check for 2 weeks later. Now, this is the issue. Immediately you get that call, you are excited, your mood changes, you're happy, because you have an expectation that is going to crystallize maybe in 1 or 2 weeks. But this is it. The reality is the money is not in your account yet. things can change. Your bank balance is still what it was just a few minutes before the call. But what changes? The way that you think about it. So a lot of time when we start down that depression path, we tend to forget the fact that how we feel is not necessarily the reality of it. So that's number one, how we feel. Feeling is not directly proportional. I don't know how they put it, proportional to reality. That's number one. Number two is this: you need to actually reach out. One of the ways to snap out of whatever it is you're feeling per time is to have a very solid support network. If you don't have it, I'm sure you have. If you've not labeled it as that, I'm sure you have friends that you've gone through stuff together, friends you can reach out to and talk about the way you feel. That is one of the ways to actually snap out of it. A lot of people underestimate the power of conversation that is encouraging. That is one tool that is available, and most times it's usually free. There is virtually no one on this earth that does not have at least one person that loves him or loves her. So what you need to do per time is, once you feel that way, is to reach out. It's not necessary that you have to offload your problem on that person, but the mere fact that you can reach out and have conversations related to some of the challenges you are going through, particularly with people you trust, as a way of significantly reducing the way the impact or the weight of the body that you can feel. Number three, so let's just put it down. Number two, communicate and reach out. Communicate. Number three, what I've observed about feeling a lot of time is we tend to put so much emphasis. I've seen somebody who said, my mental health is unbalanced at the moment, and because of that, they refuse to actually step out of their house, or refuse to pick up the call and start calls for salespeople now, or they refuse to pick up that book. It's easy to give up power in that sense, but that is one of the wrong approach to managing those blues that you would have. You would always have blues because there are things that will always not work the way we want it. Action sometimes will actually help you to snap out of it. And I was reading I think a research that says that if you're feeling low, because you are feeling low, it affects your movement. You just want to coil up in bed, you want to put your duvet over yourself, you just don't want to do anything. The same way, because nerve transmission is reciprocal, it can go both ways. The same way, if you begin to take action in spite of your feeling, it can actually change the way you feel. I think I was speaking with a friend at the point, and I said, you know what? Have you ever thought about it? The day you are feeling very gloomy, why don't you just put on salsa or put on a jazz music or whatever it is and watch that particular music? Now, it sounds very funny, and it's not like it's going to solve, quote unquote, the problems that you have. But what it does is this: your actions that you've taken, the movement you have, whether it's just simple movement as in dancing, or whether it's because you are feeling that you don't have cash, you want to call 1, 2, 3 customers, whether you want to reach out to that client that you've had issues with. That simple action step, what it does is it reverse the pathway. So because you feel low, you are not moving, you just want to coil up and just sleep or put it over yourself. If you take that action, what it does is to re-energize you along the same path and get you moving again. So what we are going to put there is move or take action. It helps. Take action. That will help. The last one that I'm just saying about myself, those are things I do. The last one I do is to actually sit down and ask myself, what exactly is the problem? Practical solution. I start trying to elaborate on practical solutions to the challenge that I'm facing, to what exactly is causing me. So what I do is what you call stack analysis. I ask myself, Shay, why are you feeling this way? That's number one. So let me just put it on stack analysis. Stack is STARK analysis, and that is actually trying to strip the way you are feeling into dry figures, numbers, words, and then to put it to articles. I ask myself, what exactly am I feeling? I'm feeling low, I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling unhappy. Why am I feeling unhappy? Because the result I'm expecting is not gelling and I feel that I'm not getting the support I need, maybe from my team members or maybe from people. And then 3, maybe the expectation that I have, I'm not meeting it. And then, number 4, I was having a conversation with a client who was talking rubbish, and it was quite early in the morning, and he was looking at the project we're doing and said, are you sure you're in position to do this project because of outstanding, you have to pay me? And you look at this person, you wonder, if I look on I'm sure it's happened to always look at this person normally should not be in that place to say this stuff to me. So the stack analysis just breaks it down to, why am I feeling this way? What exactly am I feeling? I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling low. Why am I feeling? Because of this engagement with this client. It tipped me to start thinking that, why am I not getting results? And then number 3 is, what can I do about it today? This is what the client said. What can I do about it today? One of the things I can do about it is to go out there and do the things I used to do, particularly because I know that if I keep doing them, I'm going to get results. It's then to drill down, if I do this and it's not working, what else do I do? And when you begin to ask who, what, why, when, what, and all those kind of questions, what it does for you, it helps you to actually take the cognitive dimension of whatever it is that is happening to you. And then you begin to become a bit analytical, think about the figure, and then you'll be shocked that as you begin to think through it, as you begin to divvy up with the way you are feeling in practical terms, it helps you to actually snap out of it. I'm not saying it's easy. I'm not saying it's going to be that. But what I know is this: once you begin to think about it, there's nothing that has happened to you that you do not have the capacity to think your way through. And then as you begin to think through it, as you begin to shred it up into practical action steps that you can take, what I've noticed, and I'm talking about that for me now, is that it helps you to snap out of it. I'm not saying sometimes you may not totally snap out of it, but it moves you along the way. So please do not call up. Start asking yourself, why am I feeling this way? What exactly am I feeling? What caused it? What can I do to actually reduce? What one action step can I take today? So that is what you call stack analysis. So let's go to number 5. Number 5 is to remember how it started at the beginning. See, this might be a bit more on the religious side, but one of the things I've realized is if you know where you're coming from, the journey will become a bit easier. I read the Bible, and for some of you who read it, part of the story, there's a tribe, or there's a nation that moved from Egypt, and they were going to a land that was promised to them. And of course, they encountered a lot of difficulty, but one of the ways to minimize the scale or the perceived scale of difficulty is to understand exactly where you're coming from and understand exactly where you're going. And those two things, where you're coming from and where you're going, can be summarized in the concept called purpose. Purpose actually is not necessarily what you want to do in the future. It's about your essence. It's about why you started the things you started, and it's about the vision that you have of the future, no matter what the vision is, particularly if your vision is God-given. So one of the ways to actually get yourself off the rut sometimes when you get into those kind of rut is to remember those two things. And for some of us who feel, oh, I really don't even understand what the concept of purpose is, just understand, why am I doing this, what I'm doing? What exactly gives me joy in what I'm doing? And what do I need to do better? What is a dream that I have? Because once you actually look at the dream, think through, meditate on the dreams you have, what it does is it energizes you. It tells you the reason why you need to stand up. A lot of people forget, particularly in their low moments, what the whole big picture, what the dream is all about. Never forget it. What I would encourage you, if you are listening to me today, is go write what your dream is. Go write what your vision is. Go write what your direction is. Put it on a piece of paper. And every time you get into that, go look at it again. Remind yourself why this is, why you're doing what you're doing. When you keep reminding yourself, once you reignite that thought, it has a way of listening. So what I'm writing is, remind yourself on the why, Those two things. You need to keep reminding yourself on the why. And then lastly, let me say this: no matter how you feel, commit yourself to doing the things you need to do. If you have an appointment, make up your mind that irrespective, and that's a commitment you need to make, that irrespective of the way I feel. For example, it was so bad that I took time out. I woke up, I was like 1 hour on my bed. It was slow process for me, but I knew that I had to come in and do what I got to do. And here am I standing in front of camera. The mere fact that I decided to stand up, I decided to stand in front of camera, I feel better already, and I'm sure that is relieved as the day goes by. So if you're out there, particularly if you're an entrepreneur, if you're hustling, and sometimes you just look around you and it looks like nothing is working, it looks like you are not getting the support you need, it's like people are not buying into the vision. Maybe it's even that the product that you have is not getting the traction. Maybe you are in debt, maybe you're under pressure from different causes. quarters, and it's going to happen. You need to keep reminding yourself of this 5 things. The most important, as far as I'm concerned, is to understand exactly why you started the journey in the first place. Because once you understand that, it energizes you and gives you the form that you need for the next phase of the journey. I hope this 5 point has been of value. So if you are listening to me today, I'd like you to do me a favor, because I want you to listen to the other videos I'm going to do. I'd like you to click on the subscribe button and follow us across the social media pages that you'll see displayed on the video. Until I see you next video, enjoy yourself, energize yourself, and keep actually eating hard. If you feel low at some point, reach out to someone, talk to somebody, take a look at what the vision is all about. I'm sure that you'll snap out. And if you want us to have conversation, please drop a message below this video. I will surely reach out to you. Thank you.